Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to all traders. My name is Joe and I'm the CEO of Tradex and a full-time trader. Well, today we're diving into Forex Factory, and basically I'm giving you an entire tutorial on how to use Forex Factory. So Forex Factory gives you data from almost everything, like CPI to jobs data, news data, Powell speeches. Like, these events can send USD flying or crashing. And also because USD is tied to almost every single major currency, and it can also move crypto and commodities too. Just because it says Forex Factory, like the word Forex, doesn't mean it only affects Forex pairs. It affects anything that's tied to USD. Like the USD pair, any pair that's tied to USD will get affected. For example, BTC USD, gold USD will get affected as well. So any news on USD can also have impact on commodities, crypto, and also Forex. So looking at fundamental stuff is important, and looking especially at news data and where to look at and when to look at it is also very important. Well, in this video, I'm breaking down exactly how to use Forex Factory, not just as a calendar tool, but as a real trading tool that can give you the edge before the move even happens. Now I get it. Most people open up Forex Factory, see a bunch of folders, numbers, and go like, what am I even looking at? I understand. That was me when I started as well. Like, once you understand how to read this stuff, you will understand exactly why price moves so aggressive and how to prepare for it like a sniper and like a real profitable trader. So in this video, I'm going to be walking you through exactly how to use Forex Factory step by step, what the folders and colors mean, which news events to actually care about, and also how I personally use it to decide when to trade and when to chill. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing that you will see when you open up forexfactory.com is this page. This is not what people come here to look at. People come here to look at this page right here. This is the page 99% of like traders come to look at. So let's open that page. This just gives you like a full-on summary of what's going on, everything else, that's all. But this is the calendar tool, which basically categorizes on which specific day, what like news you have, at what time and when, and what's the detail, everything else, okay? So once you open up this page, this is how it's going to look like. All right. So first thing that you'll notice is a bunch of folders right here. So many colors of folders. There are not so many. There's just only 4. We have gray, yellow, orange, and red. These 4 colors I'll explain to you in a bit. But first, let's understand the UI here because that's very important to look at. So on the left side of the corner, we have this navigation bar. So this will give you a full-on like an overview of what you're looking at. So I'm looking from the date 10th to 16th news right here, and I can move to a specific date if I want to, or I could just click over here to today, which will only show me today's news right here, which will only show me just today's news. If I click on tomorrow, it'll show me tomorrow's news right here. If I click on next month, it'll show me next month's news from September 1st to all the way to September 30th. See? But for now, I'm just gonna stick to this week right here. So that's just how you can see, like a quick little navigation bar you can hop into stuff, and that's basically it. So if you scroll down just a little bit, this is the one we're looking at. This is the important one. So you'll understand this. Once you understand this, there's no looking back. I think it's just still here. So first off, let's understand. You'll see a lot of folders here, right? Like I mentioned earlier in this video, there are 4 colors, 4 folders right here. The first one is the red folder. And before I start to explain this, I just want to mention that even if you don't trade USD pairs directly, you're still not safe because the USD is the reserve currency of the world, right? So it's tied to almost every currency pair. And even Bitcoin, BTC USD, priced in USD, gold USD, and also major Forex pairs, most have USD in them. So if the dollar shakes, the rest follow. So here's my rule. Here's something that I follow. So basically, when a major USD event is about to hit, I'm not opening any new trades unless my setup is rock solid, which means sometimes the smartest moves is to wait until the dust settles, right? But if I am trading, then I already know my sell, my TP, and also my risk before the news drops. Because Forex Factory doesn't just show the date, it shows the exact minute the data drops. This means you can set alerts in your chart, be at your chart, and also watch how the market reacts in real time. No more guessing why your trade suddenly spiked or went down. Alright, now let's understand these folders. So first folder is the red folder, which is high impact expected. So this will just give you like a one-line answer of what all these folders mean, but let me explain to you in a more broader way, like more in depth. So first off, the color red folder is high impact news, right? So these are, for example, like these have massive volatility in the market, like CPI data, FOMC, NFP, like big dogs only. And then we have orange folders right here, orange folder. This is medium impact, right? So orange folders are medium impact expected. Still important, but they could move the market based on the data and expectations. And then we have the yellow folders right here. These are all yellow folders. This is low impact. It's not like particularly very important or like prioritized news. It's just like most of the time I like don't even care about these news. So yellow folders have low impact in them. And then we have the gray folders. These are non-economic data, which means like holidays, like right here you guys can see. We have Euro, French bank holiday, Euro, again, Italian bank holidays. This is like non-news related ones. These are like mostly holidays, low volume. I genuinely avoid trading on these days. So pretty simple, right? So once we understand, and these folders are basically what's going on over here, like related stories, news. You get an overview by looking at here. And then green number, we all know that. Quarter over quarter, and everything else you know already. All right, so now that we know about these folders, now let's organize this entire overview and only see what we are going to be seeing. Only prioritize news, right? So we already know that red and orange is important. So red and orange folders are important. So I'm gonna go and filter those out. But before I do that, there's an important step that every single one of you should take. The time zone right here. This is very, very important. You can change it right here, or you can change it all the way over here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change it right over here. So you have to click on it, and once you do that, it'll pop up a page. Let me do that real quick. So let's change our time zone. This is very important. You have to change it to where you live. This is gonna be your local time zone. So once you have your time zone set, all you have to do is select it and click on Save Settings. Now this will show you exactly when the news drops in your time zone. No more guessing when the event hits. So go to the top right corner over here, click time, and set it to your time zone, or even right here. And next, we're gonna hop on to the filters, right? So what you have to do is click over here to filter. And now we're gonna filter this onto what news I want to look at. So I'm just gonna remove these both folders, and I'm only gonna be seeing pairs that I personally trade in Forex. So I don't trade this, this, this. So let's click on apply filter. So once I do that, you'll see a less noise right here. So first thing, let's understand over here what's inside this box. So first you have this week. So this is what I'm looking at. You can see it right here, or you can see it right over here. Next we have is the date. This is the day and the date. So the day is Sunday and the date is August 10th. The day Monday and the date is August 11th. The same goes for every single day. So that's the date column. And then we have the time. This is where you guys can see on Tuesday, August 12th, we have at 10 a.m. GBP average earnings index news. So the time plus what news will be released. So if there's like two news, that means two news will be released at the same exact time. There's only one news, then only one news will be released at that specific time. For example, we here have 4 news releasing at the same time at 8:30 a.m. All AUD, all red folders, which can have huge volatility in the market and high spikes or down. And next up we have currency. This is a very important look at. This is the main thing. This will tell you which currency is getting affected, which currency news is this, and the time and the date. And then we have impact. We already talked about these, all of these impact folders. Orange, medium volume, medium impact, red, high impact, yellow, low impact, and gray, just bank holidays, non-economic data. Next up, we have the news. This is where the news is going to be placed. All of the news data will be right over here. And next over here, we have the detail. So if you click over here on this folder, it'll show you more in-depth, like what's going on, right? We have the source, where this is from, the measures, the usual effect. We're going to talk about this very soon. And then frequency, scheduled 8 times per year. So this news is scheduled 8 times per year. And then we have the next release is on September 30. Just the data more in depth if you want to go and look at that. FF notes, Forex factory notes, why traders should care, and it is also called as interest rates and Accor expand. And this is all the history of data that's happened before related to this news, and some other stuff related to this news as well. So basically, when you open up any of these folders, it'll give you like a more in-depth full explanation of what this news is about, instead of just having to read just one line of like word or sentence. So this basically opens up a full-on explanation of what the news measures, why it matters, and how it affects the currency. So build this into a daily habit and you level up way faster than you know. So moving on, now let's understand about actual, forecasts, and previous. I mean, the important stuff is that you already understood everything right here. This is just like the main stuff, but I will also explain to you this right over here, because it was confusing to me when I first began like learning about Forex Factory and overall news data. These numbers are always confusing, right? Like, what are these numbers even? And how do we understand this? So, like I told you earlier, we're going to talk about this later, right? So this is where we're going to talk about it. Next up, we need to understand over here in this database or table is we have actual, forecast, and previous. These are three key numbers. So previous is what the data was last time. So forecast is what experts are expecting this time. And actual is what just got released. Okay, so this was yesterday, which means this news data is released. And this is today's, which is not released yet. And this is tomorrow, which has not been released yet. So you guys understand, right? So this was previous news. So what was previous news data number? This right here. And this is the forecast that experts were expecting. And this was the actual that we got during the news. Okay, now let's understand it a bit in depth. So now pay attention. If the actual, so I'm going to be going to the last week data and showing you an example. So let's hop on to last week so we can see the actual data as well. All right, so now pay attention. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up this real quick. And you guys can read right here, usual effect. If actual is greater than forecast, it's usually good for the currency. What does that mean? So it means that if actual, right here, let's take this as an example. If actual is greater than forecast, then it's usually good for the currency. Okay, it's usually good for the GBP pair. So the sign is it's gonna go up. So it's usually good for the currency pair. Now, vice versa. Now, if the forecast is greater than actual, which means it's bad for the currency. So it's bad for GBP currency pairs. As simple as that. So if actual is greater than forecast, it's good for the currency. But if forecast is greater than actual, then it's bad for the currency. And if it comes out exactly as the forecast, then look at the previous number for direction. All right here, the previous data for directions. All right, moving on. Now, let's talk about CPI. What's CPI and what does it affect? What is it? Let's understand that a little bit more in depth, right? So basically, let's open up this detail. CPI stands for Consumer Price Index. In short, CPI. So it measures inflation. So basically, higher CPI means that the prices are rising faster, which could push the Fed to raise interest rates. That usually strengthens the dollar. Lower CPI means inflation is cooling, which can weaken dollar. And remember, the dollar's strength or weaknesses affects everything. Forex, gold, commodities, crypto even. Now coming to this week's market movers, like we're only looking at this week's calendar, we're only focusing on orange and red folder events, medium impact and high impact. Now, Tuesday, we had this big one, USD CPI data, massive for USD pairs and anything tied to it. Wednesday, which is today actually, AUD wage price index could shake Aussie pairs. And then Thursday, which is tomorrow, USD PPI and jobless claims both can confirm or contradict CPI moves from earlier in this week. On Friday, we have USD retail sales. This shows how strong consumer spending is and how heavily it can impact market sentiment. Next up, you probably heard about Powell's speeches a million times. You probably seen it on TikTok or Reels. Basically, when he comes up to the stage and says good evening or good afternoon, the market spikes or falls down. Why is that? Who is he? Let's try to understand. So if you see Powell's speeches literally anywhere, that's Jerome Powell. Hopefully I pronounced that right. So he is the chair of US Federal Reserve. When he talks, the market listens. Powerful, right? Because he controls the interest rate. And interest rates decide how expensive or cheap the money is. A single sentence from Powell can send the dollar flying or crashing instantly. So that's who Powell is. Now, even if you don't trade USD pairs directly, this stuff matters because USD, like I said earlier in this video, is the reserve currency of the world. If it moves, it can move the markets like Euro USD, BTC USD, and gold will feel it as well because USD is paired to every single one of them. I post my personal breakdown of which events I think will move the market the most every single week inside my Discord, completely free. The link's in the description box below so you can check it out there. Most people charge $15 a month to even get access to these type of communities overall and get this type of info. But what we're building is a real traders community for completely free. So join the Tradex Discord community right now while it's still free. So basically, this is this week's news. So I talked about what high impact events to watch out, like I mentioned in this video, AUD, USD pairs, and GBP data releasing with inflation numbers, rate statements, retail trades, and retail sales, and so on. the market summary, what's going on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and so many more resources right over here. And then we also have, if you're a member of the Tradex Entry Formula, which is the strategy that I use, if you're a member of Tradex Entry Formula or the Tradex Elite Mentorship, you'll find this information very useful. So the link's in the description box below, so do check it out. And we have a little quote. Who doesn't love a little note for themselves, right? So this is this week's snapshot. So every single Sunday, I hop into Forex Factory, I analyze the data and put it into my Discord server right over here. So this is the last week's data right here. And so many more resources. And once you join the Discord server, you will also find a Discord guide right over here, so you will get the most out of the community and so many more. All of my trades will be displayed right here, raw documentation, profits and losses as well. And this is all my crypto trades, so they're categorized, all of my crypto trades, every single one of them, the pair, the entry, the sell, the risk to reward, the direction that I took, and a note as well. And these are all of my gold trades. So here's a quick little breakdown of how I use news in my trading lifestyle. And so let me break down my flow for this entire week. So every Sunday, I go to Forex Factory, I mark out all the red folders for the week, and then I post that data with all of my notes right here onto my Discord. This was all of the data that I posted, and this is this week's data. And then every morning, I recheck for today's news, and I avoid trading 15 to 30 minutes before the red folder news drops. And if I'm trading something like GBP USD or gold, I let the news play out, and then I wait for structure to form again. So basically, in short, I don't gamble with news. I trade after the chaos. So here's a quick little currency tip that I personally had doubts, because I always wondered, if your USD is going up, then why is USD JPY falling down? Because I had a lot of questions coming through my way, a lot of DMs about these questions also, so I just wanted to clarify that in this video. So let's take an example, let's take two examples. So if you're trading GBP USD pair, and the GBP, the first currency, we already know this, Forex basics, the first currency, GBP, the base currency, if that gets stronger, then the entire pair moves up or goes up. But if the second currency gets stronger, then the entire pair goes down. Okay? Let's understand that one more time. Because GBP is the base currency, the first currency, if the first currency gets strong, the price moves up, which means the pair goes up. But as the second currency gets stronger, the price goes down, which means the entire pair goes down. The same logic with literally any other pair. Let's take an example of USD JPY, right? If USD, the base currency, the first currency, gets stronger or strong, the entire price goes up. But if the second currency goes up, or if the second currency is stronger, then the entire price goes down. Okay? This applies to literally every other pair with Forex. So as simple as that can get for you guys to understand. Because personally, when I was starting out, I was literally super confused. Like, if your USD is going up, then why is USD JPY falling down? I couldn't understand the logic behind it. So when I understood this simple example, literally everything changed. Because if the first currency, the base currency, gets strong, the entire pair goes up. The same logic with the rest of the pairs. Simple as that. So if you want weekly news drops plus live updates, what's going on in the Tradex community and trading overall, then come to the Discord and join Tradex while it's still free. Links in the description box, because it's built for you to grow, trade smarter, and stop guessing. I'll see you on the other side.